Welcome in the Feral Druid PvP guide for Dragonflight expansion. If you want to become a king of the jungle to rip, rake and shred your enemies to pieces, you're in the right place. Alright, without any further ado, let's jump into the guide. Alright guys, as always, first let's take a look at the talent trees. Keep in mind this is mostly a BG spec. For arenas you definitely want to have Cyclone, but then we have to give up on just a couple of talents here and there, but we're going to get into that in a second. Right, so firstly we're going to take Frenzied Regen, which is a big heal in those bear forms, Thrash, some AoE spell and prerequisite for things like Rip, which is our main bleeding finisher, fill-in swiftness, increases movement speed, amazing. Tireless Pursuit, for 3 seconds after leaving cat form or travel form, you retain up to 40% movement speed. This is great because when you are shape-shifting out, to remove roots or just to heal yourself, just to reduce the global cooldown, you should always use Rejuve for those shape shifts. So you always have the heal up and you don't lose a global cooldown. This is great because, for running away especially, or chasing people, you still retain that movement speed. Primal Fury, great stuff. When you critically strike an enemy, you get an additional combo point. In here we have to choose Incapacitating Roar or Mighty Bash. I always go with Mighty Bash because I don't use Maim, so Mighty Bash is the way to go. Well-honed Instincts, when you fall below 40% health, you cast Frenzied Regen up to once every 90 seconds. This is good because it doesn't require you to be in bear form, so it automatically heals you for 32% health over 3 seconds. Great defensive stuff. Protection of the pack, store 5% of your damage up to 8,000. Your next regrowth consumes all stored damage to increase its healing. When you are staying offensive, your healing is constantly increased with that regrowth thanks to your damage over time effects. Next we take, of course, Swipe, just because we need it for Killer Instincts, which increases our damage and armor, and Skull Bash, which is, of course, our bread and butter interrupt. I'm just gonna move away a little bit to not hear those combat sounds, sorry for that. Right. In here we take Improved Barkskin to increase its duration, Verdant Heart, Frenzied Regen and Barkskin increase all healing received, amazing stuff. In here we also take Rejuve and Swiftment. Swiftment is a very nice heal because we apply Rejuve and then instantly we can heal for like 22,000 straight away. Of course in PvP those values goes higher because we are not in a PvP scenario, so keep that in mind that those values are a little bit higher. Next up we of course take Iron Fur as a prerequisite for the middle pack of the tree. Then we take, of course, Thick Hide, reduces all damage taken by 60%, and Matted Fur is very amazing because when we cast Barkskin or Survival Instincts we get an Absorb Shield for 80,000. This is like a free heal, for example, so every time we use our defense it just makes our defensive cooldowns more potent. Soothe is just a prerequisite. In here of course we take Wild Charge just to have that charges on very short cooldowns, only 15 seconds, so amazing to have. Stampeding Roar, Party-wide movement speed, great stuff. The Kara's Teaching, you gain 6% of a stat while in each form. So in cat form we get additional 6% critical strike, so amazing. And in bear form we gain versatility, so increased healing and damage, increased healing and survivability as well. In here we take Renewal, which is our 30% instant heal. This is great, but just remember to use it in perfect scenario you want to go in bear form, use your Frenzied Regen first to increase your healing with Verdant Heart, and then use Renewal just to increase it as much as possible. You can just basically top yourself off with those two spells in bear form. Although sometimes you are so low that you first need to use Renewal and then top yourself off with Frenzied Regen. So it's situational, but perfect scenario: first Frenzied Regen and then Renewal. And of course, the last but not least, Heart of the Wild, mostly because bear form gives us additional 20% stamina. Multiply uses of Iron Fur may overlap, and Frenzied Regen has 2 charges, so basically 64% heal on top of that, especially that Resto also increased our all healing by 30%, so with this up, we are basically unkillable in bear form. So good stuff. Now let's move on to the Feral. We pick up Target's Fury, of course, just to have that damage increase and some energy regen. Omen of Clarity makes our our abilities free and with increased more damage. Merciless Claws Shred deals 70% increased damage, and Swipe deals 10% increased damage against bleeding targets. All good stuff. Lunar Inspiration makes our Moonfire usable in cat form and generates 1 combo point. This is good because we will be relying a lot on our damage over time spells, and this just basically adds 1 to rotation, so nice to have. Next up, Sabertooth Ferocious Bite deals increased damage and increases all damage dealt by Rip by 5% per combo point spent for 4 seconds. So basically, after each Ferocious Bite, our Rip deals 25% more damage. Tireless Energy, maximum energy increased by 60, and energy regen increased by 20%. So good stuff for our resources. Passing Strike. This is very important because Rake, while used stealth, will stun the target for 4 seconds and increases its damage by 60%. Shred is also important because we will be using this while in Berserk, and this increases the 60% damage and has double damage to crit chance, so good stuff. Next up, Taste for Blood. Ferocious Bite deals 4% increased damage for each every bleed on target, so we can have actually up to like 4 bleeds in total, I believe, with the one from here, Rip and Tear, and Thrash, but we basically mostly use 2. Well, you know, 8% is still good. Usually it's not worth it to cast the other 2 just to, you know, have that another 8%. Not worth it. Berserk, our main offensive cooldown, basically increases the damage of Rake and Shred because they are counted as stealth, and on top of that, and every finishing move refunds 2 combo points, so we need less skills to actually cast those finishers. In perfect scenario, you just you know, use your finisher, then use your Shred, Rake, and your finisher is ready again. So very nice and spammy playstyle. Sudden Ambush. Finishing moves have 10% chance per combo point spent to make your next Rake or Shred deal damage as though you were stealth. So very nice addition to those combo generation abilities. Predator Swiftness, our main healing or CC ability, because when we use our finisher, we get instant cast of Regrowth on Entangling Roots. Even though you would always consider healing, Entangling Roots do get useful from time to time, especially on melee characters. Moment of Clarity improves our our Omen of Clarity because it triggers more often and accumulate 2 charges, and on top of that increases the damage by 50% of the abilities used. Infected Wounds, Rake damage increased by 30%, and Rake causes infected wound in target, reducing target's movement speed by 30%. Pretty important just to keep on those targets. Dreadful Bleeding, Rip damage increased by 20%. Important for our damage over time build. Survival Instinct, pretty self-explanatory defensive cooldown. Berserk Heart of the Lion, each combo point spent reduces the cooldown of Berserk by 0.5 seconds. Very nice because every finisher is going to reduce for 2.5 second cooldown, so we can use them more often while in combat. Carnivorous Instinct, targets through damage bonus increased by another 12%, so very nice and powerful talent. Frantic Momentum, finishing moves have 6% chance per combo point to grant 10% haste for 6 seconds. Nice because haste increases the tick rate of our dots, energy regen and attack speed, so more procs of Omen of Clarity. Next up, we got Lion Strength. Ferocious Bite Unrip deal 50% increased damage. Blood Talents does increase it by additional 10%, but it's less clunky to use, honestly. I prefer to have that perma damage increase, and you don't have to really focus that much with Blood Talents. Of course, this eventually can have better performance, but you know, for a quality of life, you usually should take Lion Strength. And Feral Frenzy, of course, one of our offensive cooldowns. Big Bleed for over that basically deals damage for 4.5 seconds, so very important and powerful ability. As you can see within the lowered tooltip, it says like 32,000 damage in total, so big cooldown. Adaptive Swarm, usually we use it after we apply all the dots because it increases its potency by 20% in PvP. It's kind of reduced and also deals 10,000 damage, so it's quite powerful on its own and also increases the damage of all our other periodic effects. So basically we can have Adaptive Swarm, Moonfire, Rake and Rip all together, so 4 spells, and Feral Frenzy of course, so 5 spells in total that deals damage. It's pretty insane, honestly. Then we also Convoke the Spirits. There's a big debate about this. It depends. In BG, I always go for Convoke because I like to open with it. Usually people are scared and basically use the cooldown, the trinket straight away. So then I have more open play for them. I can stun them, I can CC them, I can do whatever I want because they don't have trinkets. So, and if they don't trinket, the big damage just basically, like 80% of the time it just kills them, so always nice to have. Other than that, Incarnation is pretty great spell because the Berserk is then duration of Berserk is increased by 10%, and we do get some additional benefits from it, like the energy costs of our spells are reduced, and we can use Prowl once while in combat. So very nice talent. We usually don't have enough points to take the Ashman's Guidance, but if you prefer like more direct kind of playstyle, you can take it instead of Circle of Life and Death. But you know, for that periodic effect build, Circle of Life and Death is quite important. So then we go for Soul of the Forest, which basically increases damage of our finishers, and basically we get some energy back thanks to that. And of course, Circle of Life and Death, your damage over time effects deal their damage in 25% less time, so you know, it's more bursty, and the healing of the time effects in 50% less time, so all that regrowth and rejuvenation, additional healing is kind of buffed thanks to that. As for PvP talents, I always go with Thorns just to help with those melee cleaves. Leader of the Pack is quite amazing, 5% crit chance increase and some additional healing is up with that. Always nice to have. And usually Wicked Claws, or if I don't face any healers, I go for Strength of the Wild if I'm forced to sit in bear form a lot, or Ferocious Wound just to get that health back, additional health taken. So those are like the choices, but Wicked Claws usually is better. You know, all the classes can heal quite a lot, so that heal reduction is always nice to have. As for the gear, we know currently the honor gear gives us basically all gear have versatility on it, so that's like the #1 stat. But other than that, we want to go as much mastery as possible. In this scenario, I have 28% crit chance and 28% mastery, but I got so much crit because of the Leader of the Pack. If I turn on the cat form, I need to be in cat form actually. Yeah, without Leader of the Pack is 23%, and without one of the talents, it's only 17. So as you can see, mastery, the most important stat, secondly the crit, because crit not only increases its damage, our damage, but also gives us better combo point generation and some other nice benefits. The dots of course can crit, so it's always very good, and mastery just basically increases our damage overall. As you can see, damage done by your cat form abilities and finishing moves. So the generators are not increased, but you know, Rake, Rip, Ferocious Bite, all that stuff is increased, so pretty important. Alright guys, just a quick showcase. Honestly, a lot of people say that Feral is quite difficult to play. I wouldn't say that it's like super difficult, but you do need a little bit more time than other classes to, you know, get rotation, keep all those bleeds effects, all the healing, form changing. Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, but when performed correctly, then it's very, very satisfying, and you will see effects certainly. So yeah, usually I like to open from Prowl, just, you know, rake, stun, and then straight up convoke the spirits. You will see the damage is pretty big. Then I have already 5 combo points, so I can allow my rip, then adaptive swarm, feral frenzy, rake, ferocious bite. One thing that I forgot, this is like my opener. You always you want to have Tiger's Fury up before starting those cooldown spam. Mainly because it will increase your damage by 25%, 27%. So it's pretty important, honestly. But yeah, you want to just keep your dots all the time. When you don't have your Convoke the Spirits, there is other, basically the opener. Just go for Tiger's Fury, then Rake, then Feral Frenzy. You cast Adaptive Swarm as soon as possible, because you know that Feral Frenzy will start ticking, or otherwise you can just go for like this. You pop Tiger's Fury, Rake, Adaptive Swarm, Feral Frenzy, Rip, Moonfire, and then you can, for example, use Entangling Roots and run away behind a pillar while your enemy is just bleeding. This is great against like melee attackers, or if it's a caster or something, you know, after that Moonfire you can just continue spamming some shreds. And basically, honestly, the shred damage is still pretty good, so always nice to have. Regrowth after your finishers is instant and free, so you can use it as much as possible. You want to basically use all your procs. If you are full health, like I said, just try to utilize those Entangling Roots on some targets to, you know, let them out of the fight. Best choices usually are like things like a warrior or a rogue, because it will, for example, force them to use some Cloak of Shadows or something like that, and warriors usually don't have any means of getting out of the roots, or they are quite costly, so it's a good thing to do, honestly. So yeah, we have like Convoke the Spirits opener, we have the Feral Frenzy opener, and when you are in battle or you are jumped on or anything like that, Berserk is pretty insane, as you will see. I'm gonna go Berserk, pop my cooldowns, then Moonfire, Rake, Rip, then Shred, Ferocious Bite, Shred, Ferocious Bite. Okay, I'm out of energy. Shred, another Ferocious Bite. So the pressure is pretty insane with this. And Ferocious Bite. So yeah, as you can see, you can spam those abilities in Berserk. With Incarnation, I wouldn't go out of energy so fast, so it's also quite important when you cannot use Convoke that much, or you just don't know how to use it properly, then going for the Incarnation would probably be better for you and more beneficial. But other than that, when you want to open with Convoke the Spirits, just, you know, go and Prowl, then use your Tiger's Fury, Rake, Convoke the Spirits. If they don't shrink it, wait for 5 combo points, Rip, Adaptive Swarm, Moonfire, Feral Frenzy, Ferocious Bite. Insane damage straight away, and then follow up with a couple of shreds, another Ferocious Bite. So the damage is no joke. When you use those 2 of your cooldowns, you will see the effects, like you've probably seen during the video. So yeah guys, that's basically it. Of course, for defense we have got Bark Skin, which we can use while stunned. So if you get don't shrink it straight away, if there's a rogue in you, or feral, under feral, something like that, just Bark Skin, wait patiently, then after you go out of stun, just go for the bear form, use your frenzied regen. If you need even renewal, then go straight into cat, and you can even open with Feral Frenzy, Rip, Rake, Moonfire, you have all dots rolling, Adaptive Swarm, and you can just start building those combo points and basically smashing their faces. So the outplay potential is pretty good. You just need some practice to basically get it done. Also, do remember that every time melee is on, you just pop thorns and they will basically kill themselves, or at least increase your DPS quite significantly. So in an open fight, when you know, exchanging cooldowns, just keep in mind that survival instinct is pretty insane, but very short. It's only 6 seconds, so you don't have that much time to actually counterplay, so you have to keep in mind that. Also, while in heavy pressure, don't hesitate to use Heart of the Wild early, because like I said, it increases the amount of frenzied regen. So when we use it, we go in bear form. We got 2 frenzied regen, we can use 1. Then we can use renewal. If we're still in trouble, you can use another renew frenzied regen. And even when we are exiting bear form, we can cast rejuve and swiftment for big heal. So I'm going to just show you when it kites away on cut form. Then I'm going to go rejuve, I'm going to go swiftment, I'm going to go cut form again, I'm going to go rejuve again, I'm going to go cut form again. When I'm, you know, when I'm running away in battleground or travel form, I can use it here. I try to swap those forms because I do keep the movement speed and they just cannot root me or anything like that, because I'm constantly switching forms. So this is very annoying, and basically nobody can chase you down like that. So try to use as much as possible, just spam those rejuves, because rejuve also has some instant heal, so it will always add up to your health regen. And in a moment of freedom, you can always use your swiftment to increase that heal once again. And rejuve, usually just remember that you have 2 global cooldowns between before the movement speed will fall down, so we can use 2 rejuves and then cut form, and we still got the movement speed. So this is like the kiting ability, or just use the travel form instead, because usually travel form is a little bit faster depending if you have dash on or stampeding roar. So that will be it, guys. Just remember that you have your rake. You can try to stun lock and keep enemies at bay for 6 seconds, or straight up use the Feral Mighty Bash. Although it does have 1 minute cooldown, so you will stay for quite a long periods of time without any CC, so it's kind of dangerous. So I try to keep my Mighty Bash as long as possible, so I can use it later on to not diminish in return the other stun cooldowns. Alright guys, that will be it for today. If you still are not sure what class to choose, be sure to check out the video that's gonna pop on the screen at this very moment. Cheers.